Wicked awesome.
Anyway,
Cool. Right. So, let's jump in. So, Colette, here we are again.
yeah,
Tell me,
long time we've been working together, John.
it's been how many years?
Um, I think it was 2018, I think.
How long ago? That's like 7 years, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. I still think that 2018 is like a few years ago.
Yeah, we've both got a bit older.
Speak for yourself. I'm going backwards, I think. I don't know. Cool. So, for anyone that doesn't know who you are, Colette, tell them a little bit about you and your kind of background, like who you are, what you do, and like what's your background to get there.
Okay, so I'm Colette Evans and I own Picture Perfect, which is a content agency and education agency. So I predominantly do content creation, photo, video, and also coaching around social media, predominantly Instagram, and creating content for small businesses, particularly in the fitness space.
Perfect. I mean, like you've pretty much nailed that. And then, yeah, I didn't even have to prompt you and say, so, like, what who do you work with, and what, like, you just like bash, just
I
nailed.
didn't cover the problems that I solve, but that's it.
So, what problems do you solve then? Let's dig into that a little bit.
So I often find that small business owners or fitness coaches, people in fitness and wellness in particular, that's my area, right?
Yeah,
So I often find that they're either not confident on camera, they're time poor, or they're just confused or overwhelmed about what they should be doing when it comes to content marketing. So I help them in a collaborative way to unpick all that, create a strategy, a plan, and feel a bit more calm yet creative about the content again. So then they can start showing up consistently online and therefore be more visible and win more
sure.
business.
And that's the real thing, isn't it? It's about them showing up online, but showing up as themselves, being authentic, not this fake. And I think that's probably the slight danger with AI to somewhat, isn't it? Is we're not always getting the true authentic version of somebody coming through, which I suppose
Yeah,
is
100%.
where you come in to help them massively so.
Yeah, and I've just done a video on this on my YouTube actually that says that, to show up confidently, you've just got to press record, and that really does it. It promotes that authenticity, and
Yeah,
it's using AI as a tool but not letting it replicate you and tell you what to think. It's bouncing ideas. So I think of it as a job function for every department um,
mm,
instead of a replacement and
of
just
course.
someone. It's almost like a marketing and a sales assistant, etc., like a business development manager, a brand
Yeah,
manager. You have, if you use it correctly, you've got all these different segments of your business.
sure.
And obviously, I have to turn my mode on when I'm using the different tools. However, putting that time aside to do that and speak to my little bots in different areas really
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? You've kind of nailed it there by segmenting them into kind of different places where they fit. No, it's not about replacing the whole system, it's about assisting the system to get there. So in terms of like the clients that you work with, the things that you do with them, like your journey's changed a little bit along the time, along the way over the time, but it's still always been pretty much based around being creative, content and creativity. What's kind of what's like three of the problems that you kind of bumped into along that way that we've worked together with over the years and kind of fixed, so to speak.
Well, I've been in business 14 years now, which I'm quite proud of, being
You should be.
self-sufficient for that amount of time. But there has obviously been lots and lots of challenges which you've helped me with along the way when I maybe had a bit of self-doubt or low confidence myself and wasn't sure and I needed that sounding board. So you were definitely there for me to give me that push towards doing the right thing rather than an emotive driven response to a
Yeah,
situation or
yeah,
challenge when I had staff or when I had a client situation, anything. These things come up in business, cash flow situations, all these things come up, and if we pretend they don't, then we're not telling the truth,
you're
are we?
fooling ourselves, aren't we? Yeah,
Yeah. So obviously, like I mentioned, I've had cash flow situations, I've had too many clients, I've had too little clients, I've
too
had
many staff.
too many staff, wrong positions with the staff,
Yeah.
and then had to let staff go, not knowing what to do. I've come up on, VAT, all these different things, HR issues. I feel like I've pretty much boxed most of them off. And then we can't forget, John, the website. When my website went down and I thought it was the end of the world,
You did,
and
didn't
John
you?
were there to help me.
I do remember them days. Oh dear.
Uh,
Yes.
but yeah, so you're
Frustrating
very,
times I think we've all been there as well. There's been many a
yeah.
times over the years I've been like that when I've been kind of migrating the website, my own website from one to another place, and all of a sudden it's gone, and you just like you think your world's going to come crashing down. And it's like it's just a website. It's fine.
And that's where you're great at putting things into perspective, but also giving the technical assistance as well. With your web development background, that were, for me, I've always asked you techie questions when I'm trying to do things myself. And there's a point as well where we realised that I needed to outsource some things as
Mm.
well to make better use of my time. So I feel like you're a good all-rounder, John. But but I do think you excel in like the tech stuff and in sales. That's your like base
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, you cut me in half, and it's going to have one half of me is going to say sales, and then the other side will it'll still say sales, but it'll have some marketing like kind of threaded in there as well with some like kind of curiosity or some sort like that. Yeah, totally. So in terms of like the sales that like let's dig into that a little bit. Like we all need sales, and I think it's very easy for us all to neglect sales to a degree because it's not always the most sexiest thing to be doing. It's actually quite boring and it's a little bit kind of challenging at times. Like what's kind of been a challenge for you when it comes to sales for you?
So when it comes to sales, I think my main challenges have been getting the consistent lead flow in, and that is still a challenge today, I'm not going to lie. But it's about paying attention to KPIs and your activity and keeping yourself
Mm,
not only accountable, but tracking what does actually work. And then, I think having a framework for that, which is something you've always encouraged me to do, have some sort of a framework for everything. And it can seem a bit OCD at times, but it really does work when you get things down on paper and have a meeting with yourself on a weekly basis or even a daily basis. I look at my bank account every day,
yep.
not because I'm paranoid, because it makes me aware of how much work I've got
Yeah,
yet to do.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I love it.
and another thing on that is never enough, is it? There's never enough money in the bank because you always, as an ambitious person, you always want to do more
You want
things. You've
more?
got more
Yeah,
ambitions to spend that money on to reinvest into the business. But in terms of sales, my challenge is, yeah, it's like everyone's. You've either got too many sales and you pulled out your hair, but then there comes a challenge if you're like me and you're delivering, then the prospecting or the follow-ups kind of drop off. Whereas
yeah,
then when you're not as busy, you go all in on the prospecting and following up, and then the marketing might drop off. So it's getting
yeah,
that
yeah,
balance between everything and
yeah,
having it evenly spread over time and being strict with yourself, even when you have got a heavy client delivery month, like mine's like sort of like around Easter time, April, May, June.
yeah.
Um, it's hard when you've got clients in one ear and then you've got to do business development, sales, and marketing on the other side.
Sure,
It's just
sure.
I tend to prioritize my own stuff first, and that gets done, and the client work gets done anyway.
Yeah,
Because I know I thrive in a high pressure environment,
sure,
so
sure.
I thrive to deadlines, so I know that
Yeah,
it'll all get done.
it'll all get done.
If I did
And
it
I
the other
think
way around, it wouldn't work.
And I think that you've only got to look at like you look at major banks. Major banks have got millions of customers, but they never stop advertising for new ones because they know that new customers is the bloodline of their business, and we have to make sure that we prioritize our advertising, our marketing, our sales activity. Otherwise, you do find yourself in that feast or famine where you're busy, 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 nothing.
Mm.
And so, like in terms of yourself, where you know that's been an issue, and it is for everybody. It's not just for you or for me. Everyone goes through these problems. Like, what kind of impact did that have on you, both in your business and yourself, when you went through them stages?
Definitely a confidence knock, if I'm honest. So
Yeah.
having those challenges definitely knocked my confidence, my self-esteem, my self-worth. I'll be honest, like it were hard to dig through, but the biggest tip I'd say in getting out of those times, I lost one year and not long ago, well, a couple of years ago, I lost two-thirds of my income
Mm,
overnight from one client. So that's a learning curve as well.
yeah.
So having those setbacks actually made me come back stronger. It's just took me about 2 years to rebuild
Did
the
it? Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
So it's took a lot longer than what I expected. But then I've learned a lot of lessons along the way on that, and I've readjusted the business and the delivery methods, how it works. So yes, having those low feast and famine, low and high moments in the sales, but particularly the low moments have taught me a lot more than the times when I had
Yeah,
loads of money coming in.
yeah.
It weren't a problem, it were on retainer,
Mm,
and all life were all good, and I had loads of staff and all the responsibilities that went with that. So equally, I learned a lot of lessons there as
of
well. So I think
course.
you can learn lessons from both
Both
situations.
sides.
The
Yeah,
goal
yeah,
is to get on the middle ground
yeah,
and think about what kind of lifestyle you do want to live and what, instead of having a job, do you want a job or a business, or do you
yeah.
want a lifestyle business?
I love it that I love that because it's one of the things that I get really kind of bullish behind is that there's this kind of idealism that's thrown around in the business world that says work smarter, not harder. And I think it's just complete bullshit because I think it's so hard for you to work smarter unless you've worked hard to start with. It's so hard for you to decide whether you want a load of staff or no staff until you've had either way. You can't appreciate one without the other ones. And I think that for yourself, you've absolutely done that. You went from when we first started working together, you was in your garage and you were desperate that you wanted a studio.
Yeah,
So we put a plan together and you being as hard working and dedicated and passionate as you are, you got an office. And then no longer did you want that office, you wanted a three-story studio. And you went and did that, and then you built a team, and you had a team of people that worked around you. And I think that you've got to taste these things in business and experience them, and you decide whether you like the taste of it for yourself. Right now, you've realised what you like the taste of and what you don't like the taste of. There's no way for you that you want to go back to having a big studio with loads of stuff again
no. And
because
I've
you've
had, I've
experienced
had,
it.
I've had a few clients actually that said to me, oh, you need telling me how I need to build my business moving forward, and I'm like, but that's your ideal, not mine.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
had that, telling me that I need to build a bigger team or whatever because I need to support them. Well, actually, I don't want that. I've had that, and right now I don't want that stress.
yeah.
Like, I want a more free-flowing
Freedom.
schedule.
Yeah,
And if sometimes I'll be working at 10 at night, but that's fine because that's what I want to do.
yeah, yeah,
And some
yeah.
people might say that's unhealthy, but then in the daytime I might go for my
But
head. Yeah.
so is probably them sat on the couch eating ice cream watching Netflix.
Yeah. Like I
Do you
would
know?
literally rather yes, for my birthday, Sunday night, I got a moment of inspiration. Oh, I'll put an offer on for my birthday, right? Banged out 6 email campaigns for this week in about an hour because I were inspired, and that were at 10 o'clock Sunday night. So who's to say that's better than watching Netflix? I'm not going to do because that for me that were more enjoyable.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Is that there's this again message that is from like the industrial age, which is, 70 years or so outdated now, that says you should work 8 hours, sleep 8 hours, and then have 8 hours recreation time. We don't live that way no more, though. We're different creatures. But anyway, we kind of digress slightly there, don't
Yeah,
we? But
sorry.
so
Yeah.
let's no, no, but let's come back to like the kind of impact that it were having, the feast and famine, the confidence knocks and things like that as well. Like, what kind of stuff did you do? Did we do? What did you put in place to kind of change that? What kind of frameworks or methodologies did you follow to make an impact to that and change it?
So going through that feast and famine, obviously working with yourself, one to one on coaching over the years, and also as a group, to be fair, the back end of 2023. It, I think we've put lots of frameworks in place together, but it's just been more of a navigating it through discussion rather than frameworks as such. However, you've taught me methodologies of like, when I got a sales call, um, kind of like use this format, and
Yeah.
that's helped me with giving the direction from the offset when I first speak to someone on that sort of semi-first engagement one to one. That really lifts my confidence up.
Mm.
And I still use a framework for calls now, but I use ChatGPT and your deal closer bot to actually put a personalized sales script together instead
Yeah.
of it being generalized and me having to think harder.
Yeah. Yeah.
So before, when we first started working together, we're obviously going through the basics. that's a very different landscape to now where we've got AI at our fingertips
Of
and
course.
we can use those tools. But I think maybe throughout just going navigating the emotional side, obviously you've been there just to support. And then from a professional side of things and looking at the business, like looking at, okay, so if we're having a famine season, because every business has ups and downs. Look at when your ups and downs are, know what to expect, plan ahead for that, which I have actually done this year, and it is paying off now. August is always my quietest month, but
Yeah, you
it's
said. Yeah.
coming. But no, I've turned it around. Our L band, like we're going to be a really good month, and it's looking good so far. So,
Fantastic.
but like just looking ahead and planning ahead a bit more, being aware, self-aware and business aware of trends and not
Yeah.
just blaming it on, oh, it's the recession, the market, whatever, energy crisis. You can always blame someone else, but actually what it comes down to when we put that KPI tracking sheet in, like, okay, so what's the goal that needs to be done or the thing that needs to be done? What actions need to be done for that? Have
Yeah.
we done them? And come back to that weekly as a
Yeah.
KPI, like what are you actually doing about it essentially?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, like what needs to be done to get to that goal,
Yeah.
and that's okay if we need to reassess it as well. It might not work. Whatever you've set out to do, the task to get that done might not work. So
No, you have to
it's about
adjust.
just
Yeah.
adjusting
Yeah.
and
But you can't adjust what you don't track.
yeah. So if
Yeah.
you track it and you're consistent with it over a period of time, like the biggest thing that we've always said is like it takes 3 months lag time for any sale to come through.
Mm.
Could
Right.
even be longer. I've had
Yeah.
someone who's been following me for 2 years from
I
YouTube,
know. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it was just booked. So, and you just don't know who's watching either.
Well, everyone's watching. I mean, you only have to go to look at your Facebook stories or your Instagram stories. All them people watch you. They don't really always engage with you. You're going to look and there'd be like 250 people seeing your story. They ain't 250 people that's engaging and liking and commenting on your stuff. So everyone's lurking and everyone's watching. And when the time's right, they'll reach out. So in terms of like you mentioned a few different things like KPIs, the tracking, the deal closer, the AI tools and things like that and frameworks, the sales system that you talked about, which we call as fit call, getting them
Yeah.
into that process. I mean, if we just kind of pick one out of there, let's look at the deal closer, just because it's using some modern stuff, which is all around AI right now. Like, firstly, like, why did you feel that you needed to probably start to play around with a deal closer?
Well, anything that's going to save me time is a win for me. So with the deal closer, I think it's just so easy. It takes that emotional side out of it with sales. It
Hmm.
takes decision fatigue away. So I've been a lot more consistent since using the deal closer, like with my follow-ups.
Yeah.
And also, I do believe that it's helped me win more deals because in terms of my approach to things, I can be a little bit forward, for lack of a better
But
word.
it slows you down
It
a little
slows
bit.
me
Yeah,
down,
yeah,
and it's like dating someone. I would say it sounds like dating someone, isn't it? Like you can't just ask them to marry you. So
tomorrow. Yeah,
I
yeah,
go in for the kill. Naturally, I go for the kill, and I try and train myself to get better, which I had. But the deal closer definitely helped bring that back another notch, and I feel like that softer approach has really helped. So, I started learning my tonality now.
yeah. Oh God.
Um,
Oh dear.
yeah, I know. I know.
So,
But
like, what?
this
Tell me
has
about some of
helped
the
with consistent.
results.
Yeah,
Tell me about some of the results because I've seen you've sent me screenshots and
I
messages.
know.
Well, not screenshots, but messages saying, I've just closed this deal and I've only used the bar and I've done this and this and this. Like, tell me about a few of the kind of results that you've
Um,
been getting.
so in the last week, the Deal Closer app or AI, well, I'll say that again. In the last week, the Deal Closer has helped me sign someone for coaching who has been watching for 2 years.
Mm,
So that's quite powerful. Like she got in touch. We did a an email exchange, a one-to-one call. She couldn't afford me. However, she was thinking about it. She came back to me. She said, "I could afford this though."
right.
Um, but so how I use that every time I have a call or an interaction with someone now, I put it into the deal closer as like a record of that chat and put who it's with.
Yeah.
So then I can go back. If I need to follow up, I can go back and get it. So other results I've had, I closed a sale, a £700 sale last week for just over WhatsApp. which in my mind, I always thought anything over like £200 would need a one-to-one call. So it's proved me wrong.
Yeah, that's
Um,
crazy, isn't it?
yeah, and I signed a similar level of shoot actually as well through WhatsApp predominantly as through with the deal closers. That's two,
Yeah,
sort of low to medium ticket offers. Um, all sorts really, just helping me follow up, just the speed. I just used to put follow up off as a massive task.
yeah, yeah,
Whereas now, in terms of results, it's helping me just actually be consistent, and not be emotive about selling or sales or following up. It just gets done
sure.
and that's it, done.
So in terms of your business, obviously the kind of impact it's had on your business there, then the outcome's been, more revenue, more time for you, and then yourself, you were saying like less emotional involvement. Because I think that's the thing
Yeah,
with sales, isn't it? Is that
yeah,
there's a lot of emotion that gets behind it. The ego definitely kind of starts to interfere
yeah.
and get in the way and stop you. And so you're saying that it removes the kind of you said decision fatigue, but also it pulls the emotional side away from it. So it's actually just a business transaction.
Yeah, yeah, and it's helped me make better decisions as well on things where there's been deals in motion that I've maybe had to pivot on, and the things changed. It's helped me have more rationale about things.
Love it. I love it. So in terms of moving forward into the future, like what's kind of three things that you're focusing on right now that's going to really kind of accelerate you to these next kind of goals? Because I think that um obviously revenue is always important, and I remember we've had many conversations. It's like you're so close. This month you're doing 50 to the 10K, then it's 15K, and it's like there's loads of revenue goals, which is always going to be there. But like,
Yeah.
what's the three kind of things or three lessons that you're going to take into the future and to kind of apply and move forward with?
Well, I'm currently I've made myself a five phase. Start again. I've made myself a 5 phase like program for the rest of the year,
Nice.
using AI, to get to 20K a month consistently. So that's the goal. But the revenue really is going to be a byproduct of the activities. So I've based that around low, medium, and high ticket offers where I'm not going to be involved in every single offer. So obviously, the low ticket is, things like tools and templates, like
Yeah.
digital products that are downloadable, or workshops which brings people into my like customer base or ecosystem. And then the mid ticket is sort of a done with you, and then the high ticket is done for you
Yeah.
services, such as the content creation.
Right.
Um, so really the goal is to improve customer retention by like improving SOPs and the behind the scenes stuff, so that runs almost seamlessly in the background. People demand less of my time so I can focus on developing these other offers
Tools
and
to help
yeah,
people.
and
Yeah.
the sales and marketing.
Brilliant.
I've just restarted my YouTube as more of an education platform to bring people in from a value point of view, which I can then repurpose over socials. So that started this month.
Perfect.
So really building up that trust and that value with my audience who are not yet customers to
Yeah.
bring them in before they've even bought. And then just get everything a little bit more automated, but still feeling personalized. And that's why those sort of like onboarding videos and guides and things like that, I'm building them out now. That's like phase 1 to 2,
Yeah.
getting those implemented, getting Slack to send them out automatically at certain stages so clients feel really cared for, even though I've not got a massive team, it still can feel
Yeah.
like they've got that support.
That
That's a
personalization and
big thing
support.
for
Yeah.
me, like really giving back to my clients. But then bringing other clients in that are probably a different level of their business to what I had done previously.
Cool.
So I'm now looking for slightly more mature clients where it's 5+ years.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I think where I were 5 years ago, I feel like I can give that support now after, 14 years in business.
Definitely so.
Um,
Mm.
so
There's a
yeah,
hell of a lot of lessons in 14 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like just leaning more into the coaching space. Obviously, content creation's always been my thing for the last 25 years. That's how long I've been doing this professionally. which is a long time. So again, lots of lessons I can teach and pass on. So I know I've got the authority, but it's just getting more people to know about who I am and why
Yeah.
they should come join my club in a way than
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
somewhere else. But I've done a lot of market analysis using Perplexity and AI, Claude. A lot of people are not using these tools yet and they're missing a trick. Like I've done a lot of competitor research, but market positioning, and I'm really like working on that side of things first before I really go and develop the next phase.
Brilliant.
So
Brilliant.
it's a bit of everything really, a
It's
bit of
yeah, it's
revenue, client
yeah,
retention, and product development and
yeah.
audience awareness.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. So then, and then I suppose the next question is really if anyone's new coming into my world, really, into John Covey's world, into the Thrive world, like what's the top three pieces of advice that you'd give them?
My top piece of advice, if they're coming into your world, John, or into Thrive, is trust the process. Listen to you. Don't try and rush things, Don't try and do too much at once and not do any well. Make sure you just follow the frameworks and really go deep into that framework and really understand it. Yes, you use AI as a tool. However, make sure that you really understand it and put some time aside a couple of times a week, maybe a couple of 90-minute blocks per week to really go deep on your own business and understanding of who you are, your positioning, um, what you're offering, and looking at your offers as well. Like, is that what the market wants? That's one thing I've done before.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
We've worked on that, actually, I wanted to offer people this product, but actually, in reality, they wanted something completely different. So, don't also try and get things perfect before you actually launch anything. So, the massive lesson that I learned from you back at end of 2023 was that like just build it anyway and do it as you go along. So I built my coaching program off the back of your flywheel course,
yeah,
and launched that in January. I had a Canva whiteboard and a Google Doc to sell it off. I've still not actually got a web page for it
yeah.
now,
Don't need
and
to.
it's still been selling like, and yeah. But just figure it out as you go along, and you'll find it shapes up a lot better value for your clients. So
Yeah,
yeah, a
brilliant.
couple of
Love it.
pieces of advice there. I could go on and
Love it.
on, but yeah.
No, I love it. No, and I mean you're right when it comes to like the kind of Google Doc. I mean, like if I look back over the last probably 2 years, back to like 2023 when I started, talking about the flywheel stuff. I reckon that from there's probably well, if we just take the flywheel course for example, there's probably now around 60 people that's been through that, and every single one of them bought that off the back of a Google Doc. Not a single one of them had a conversation with me on a phone call. It was literally, like, here's the doc, have a read of it, let me know if you're in.
Yeah.
And they're like, yep, we're in, send me the link, they pay. Do you know? And I mean, at the time when it first got launched, it was 1,200 quid. Now it's 2,000, and people still pay. They don't need to speak to me. They read it. It's written in such a way that they understand everything. It lays it all out, and they just buy. So I think that we definitely need to start looking at. I don't mean you, but just people as a whole. We need to look at how we can, in terms of the sales process, how we can stop them little leaks in the bucket
Mm.
from. And a leak appears when there's too many actions involved. If you can start taking some of the actions away, we can in essence then speed up the process and make it slick as well. But